All right, what's going on, everybody? Hope you're having an amazing Monday. I'm in, you're seeing this in my home office, but I'm actually, as many of you know, hanging out down in Costa Rica, Santa Teresa to be specific. But I'm going to be doing some lives coming up starting next week. So make sure to join me, join my family. And yeah, I'm super pumped. I'm sure right now I'm having a kick ass time doing something cool. Maybe I'm on like an ATV or a surfboard or something. So, future Jake, I hope you're having an amazing time. For all of you, you're stuck with past Jake, and today's topic's going to be a great one because I talk a lot. The last few weeks I've been talking a lot about buyer speed and how do we better meet buyers where they are in their journey. But today I'm going to talk about how to stop bleeding customers and growing better relationships with your customers. Again, for me, you all know how I feel about relationships, right? That I really firmly believe that buyers want a value exchange based relationship, meaning I want to talk to a salesperson who makes me smarter. If they're likable, that's fantastic. I'll probably want to talk to them a little bit more. But if you're really likable, but you don't add value, I'm probably not going to want to talk to you that much. So when I talk about this idea of how do we stop bleeding customers, how do we do a better job of retaining more customers and growing relationships, at the core of this is how we add value. And so I'm going to jump into, I've got 4 very tactical ways that any organization can do this. And really the reason that this is so important right now is competition is high, right? Acquiring new customers feels like it's, harder than ever. Budgets are under more scrutiny. There's a lot more people involved in the process. If you remember a couple of weeks ago, intent, we talked about teams, we talked about the end user team, we talked about the buyer team. And it's tough to wrangle all these people. And I think too, it's that our current customers, we always like the shiny new penny, right? We like the shiny new toy of a new customer versus hey, how do we just really put in place rock solid processes to retain? So let's step out of this kind of new business rat race for a minute here and focus on how SaaS companies can stop bleeding customers and start growing them. Like I said, I've never met at a company that's not like, Jake, we care about our current customers. Of course you care about your current customers. Okay. But you got to start to act like it. Okay. So I'm going to talk about 4 very, very specific things here that should help you with that. Also, we will be kickstarting some of this conversation after the live in the Innovative Seller community. So my friends, if you have not signed up, it is $9 a month. And we've got free AI workshops. We've got LinkedIn workshops. We've got forums. We've got content. I guarantee you, if you do not enjoy it, I am happy to fully refund you your money and some. So go sign up for the community and we'll pick up some of this conversation over there after the live as well. So my number one point, if you want to start bleeding customers, and I'll kind of go back to what I'd said before, which is if you are not adding value in every interaction, if your touch points are touching base, catching up, or checking in, nobody wants to meet with you, right? I'm sorry. I wish they did. The QBRs become a check-in where you talk about, um, you know, product usage, and they're like, okay, great. This could have been an email. So what goes in? So how do you beef that bad boy up? Okay. Number one is make sure you always have a piece of unique value to add in every call. Hey, I saw this article about this trend in your space. Hey, a friend of mine shared this. Hey, I noticed this thing from one of my other clients. Let's talk about how I think it can apply to you. Whatever that is. If you, again, going back to what I said before, executives take meetings and executives want to meet with people that make them smarter, right? I've said this before in different talks I've talked about. So just think about that, right? If you don't lead the conversation with value add, I'm just going through this like, okay, let's get to the next thing. The second thing I'll talk about, especially in like a QBR, is don't make it about troubleshooting. Have a separate meeting for that. Like, hey, this meeting, whether it's we do it once a month or once a quarter, is about your priorities, what's top of mind, and how I can maybe help you achieve some of those goals. So that would be the other piece here is, I want to align. I actually start the meeting, not with the values piece that comes next. Is I start the meeting like, hey, all right, so from, last quarter, these were our top priorities. These were the things we're working on. What's changed? How this? No, Jake, those are still the same. Nope, this has changed, etc. Whatever. So I want to realign to your priorities, add some value, give you some insights into what I'm seeing, and then come up with, again, I'm a big fan of never pitching on a QBR. That instead, if you understand new priorities they have, you talk to them about some interesting things, what's happening, what you're seeing, you're educating them, then set up another call to be like, all right, well, based on what you said, let me put together a few ideas on how we might help you with that. So don't check in, touch base, or catch up, and keep these QBRs just jam-packed with value for the customer. And what's value for the customer is not just a bunch of usage metrics, right? Also, don't let them become a bunch of feedback sessions either. Set a very clear intention that this meeting is for this, to talk about like the bigger picture, other insights that you've had, etc. All right. Number 2 is renewal timing. In the book, Innovative Seller, hopefully all of you have read it. If you have not purchased your copy, what are you waiting for? Go out and purchase it. I talk very specifically about this. This process is something I designed back, I want to say I designed this at Glassdoor 10 plus years ago, and it still just works absolutely amazing. I call it the 120-day. I love Zoom, how it just like pulls up the things. There we go. A little that, maybe it'll pick that up. Yeah, there we go. I love that. Here's this one too. If y'all don't know all the Zoom isms that you can do, this one right here is kind of sad, like you had a bad day. It's like double thumbs down on that. So the 120-day renewal process, okay? The 120-day renewal process is this. I'll break it down for you very quickly. At 120 days out, it's about 4 months. And for some of your clients, it's maybe a little shorter or a little bit longer, depending on the size of the deal and complexity. 120 day out, we're doing a full-blown kind of review of kind of like what we've done, priorities, what we have coming up next, priorities that you think are going to be in place for the last quarter or the next year. By day 90, we've got kind of V1 of what the partnership plan could look like. By day 60, we've honed it into a V2 to where it's really what we think we're going to move forward with. And then by day 30, they already have the contract in hand. So 120 days out, we do this kind of year in review, forward looking, what are priorities? 90 days, we put together kind of a sample of what we think it might look like. By day 60, we then refine that a little bit further to where they have the final contract by day 30. That's it. It's really easy to put into your sales engagement platform, this process. It's really easy to track this process in your CRM. And again, what this does is shows, look, I'm a strategic partner. We're not just going through the motions. Each year, I'm going to try to understand how your wins have shifted and try to make sure that I'm educating you on what I think could be best based on what you're telling me and how we can potentially help. So that's a big one. So again, if you want to stop bleeding customers, value-added interactions, and you have to have a tighter renewal process. It can't be this, I catch up with you 30 days beforehand. Too much is, it's so interesting. It's like you're catching up 30 or 60 days before. There's no time to fix anything. At 120 days out, there's still plenty of time. If something's sideways, I could spend a good 60 to 90 days getting it in that gives me a full quarter to get it in amazing shape, and I still got 30 days left, right? So you've got to start your renewal process at an appropriate amount that it's going to count for, any time you might have accounts that are a little wonky, okay? Numero trace, okay? This is a massive one, all right? One of the top 3 reasons we see for churn across most clients is my main point of contact left. This is the one where it is 100% in your control. So again, I don't know. I don't have the percentage here. That's going to be another good LinkedIn poll. What percent of your churn is from POC leaving? Is main POC leaving? This is going to be funny. I'm going to be curious to see. I'm going to guess people are going to say it's 10. I'm going to say 15 to 20%. It is 100% avoidable. Okay. It is your job to get 2 to 3 relationships minimum. Okay. My advice, and we've done this with so many companies. We've done this with big companies, small companies, etc. So, okay, your job this quarter is to get at least 2 people that you meet with on a quarterly basis consistently. That's it, right? Now, again, I met Rachel once or twice is not a relationship, okay? That is not like, oh, I'm multi-threaded, I've got other people in here, okay? by any stretch of the imagination. So instead, what are other people, again, and I would think of, do I have people on the user team? And you have to have somebody on the impact and ROI team. So there's not just somebody you talk to who's using the product or it's the director. You need to have somebody who's on that impact and ROI team that you have a relationship with, and at least you're meeting with them a few times a year, talking about the business priorities, etc. So homework is do a sprint this quarter and get at least one, if not two other people that you meet with regularly. That will help you there. Number 4. Oh, this is my favorite, right? So just to recap again, we've got make sure that your monthly or quarterly conversations aren't checking in, touching base, or catching up, that you are adding value. And I gave you kind of the script for that. Start your 120-day renewal process so you can get ahead of anything. Make sure you have multiple points of contacts. And last but not certainly least, make sure you have concrete goals for every single client. Usage is a goal, for sure, 100%. But chances are they bought your product to drive some type of impact on the business. I don't know what it is for your product. But again, on these QBRs, these quarterlies, like, hey, Jake, I know one of the big things we're focused on is a 10% increase in outbound performance. Okay, great. Hopefully we have the reporting. We can prove that. Great. But again, if you don't have quantifiable goals that you're reviewing at least quarterly, you're going to get to the end of that first year contract. That person's going to go to their CFO and they're going to say, hey, what did this actually do? Oh, it was helpful. It saved us time. So the company, if you want to you want to stop bleeding customers and you want to have the absolute best shot at renewal, you need to set concrete goals that are being tracked. And even if it is something like, okay, so for between now and next month, your team's going to track, how much time they spent here on this thing for the next 2 weeks. And so now we can say, look, on average, they're saving 2 hours a week. That is another 10 hours of productivity, and here's the business results. So again, if you're churning customers month to month or quarter to quarter, you have to look at these 4 areas. I promise you, if you fixed one of these, boom, I'm gonna decrease your churn by 5+%. You fix 2 of these, now we're starting to get silly. So again, for those of you tuning in, no check-ins, quarterly reviews, no renewal timing is enough time out, 120-day renewal process. You get 2 or 3 points of contacts, and you set concrete goals, and you keep and then in every time you meet, you always realign to the goals because goals can change. So you start with, hey, great. In our last meeting, we talked about these. Are those still the top priorities? Or what I love to do with this is you kind of hear the language I use. Is I say, hey, here are the top 3 things that we had talked about. What's changed? So instead of doing this like, does that make sense, et cetera, I'm going to say what's changed, because that's going to open them up to tell me if things have like dramatically changed or adjusted. So great. Make sure I've got concrete goals and I'm aligning to them. So make sure, if you haven't, I mentioned this before, sign up for the Innovative Seller community. I think I will be live next week. We will see. I'll have to look at what's on the calendar. But yeah, I'll be sharing a bunch of pictures. So make sure you're following my LinkedIn. You'll get to see kind of what I've been up to in Costa Rica. I'm definitely trying to do this kind of like, definitely taking some very targeted time off, but also, doing like more of an integrated life with myself. I've got a 9-year-old and a 6-year-old. And so this is going to be a really special, month for me and my family. So I'm pretty excited about it. So hopefully this is helpful. If you're out there, you're trying to figure out, hey, Jake, what are some small things that we could do right now to save our customers? Implement any one of those. It'll make a big difference. So thank you, everyone. Have a great rest of your day, great rest of your week. Make sure to follow me on LinkedIn so you get all of the cool things that we're getting into. And I'll be sharing life sales advice all month, from a different locale. So appreciate y'all. Thank you.